Welcome back. The Trump administration is working on doubling its financial aid to Argentina from $20 billion to $40 billion. Now, the details are a little fluid on this, they often are, but this move, if it comes to fruition, well, it's already angering, just talk about it, is angering some U.S. farmers, notably Iowa's soybean farmers. Why? Well, because China is now going to Argentina for its soybeans instead of the United States. That is a result of trade disputes with President Trump. Critics of Trump's aid package, as it's being developed for Argentina, say it would support the Argentine economy and their soybean farmers while undercutting the U.S. market. I sat down with Iowa State Auditor Rob Sand, who's also running to become its next governor, to discuss this and much, much more. Listen. Rob, welcome to the Takeout. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Major.
Talk to me about soybeans and Iowa farmers right now.
Sure. I think one of the biggest pieces of this that's generally missed is during the first Trump administration, the Chinese government decided to get ready for a continuation of trade wars. So they built the single biggest deep water port on the planet in Peru. Just like that, because they said, if we are going to have disagreements about trade with the United States, the one place that you can really hit the United States on trade is agriculture. Well, then we, being China, they want to have the ability to bring South American soybeans, South American corn to China at a lower cost. Let's quit pulling it all the way around South America. Let's just take it from Brazil and Argentina over to Peru, load it into the biggest ships on the planet because you can pull them right up to this deep water port and bring them home. They were ready for this. They were ready for a second administration under Donald Trump.
And now it's come. And now they're boycotting it.
And we've had 0 orders for soybeans in the United States from China. 0. And the only person in the Iowa delegation that is willing to point out how terrible this is Chuck Grassley. The other 5 of them, our other U.S. Senator and our 4 members of Congress, they are, I think, betraying the people who they are supposed to represent because they're really only concerned about pleasing one man. Don't say anything bad about what he's doing. I know it's been terrible for all the people I'm supposed to represent, but I have one job here, and they believe that that is for them to represent their party.
Are you seeing cracks in the Iowa economy?
Yeah. Oh, our economy is in 49th place in the country. It's Iowa and North Dakota, the only 2 shrinking economies in the country right now. And it's going to get worse. And again, this is something that Chuck Grassley said. He said this is, to him, reminiscent of the 1980s. I was born in 1982, so I don't have real recollections of this, but everybody in Iowa, whether they were there or they just know of it, understand that the 80s were a horrific time for our state, where a lot of farmers, Major, hurt so much that they ended their own lives because of the shape of their farms and the shape of their business.
Representative Don Bacon from neighboring Nebraska has said Nebraska and Iowa right now is in a recession.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah. That's what it looks like from all the numbers that I've looked at. Yeah, I mean, we had negative growth a few quarters in a row. We just had a 10%, if you go April to April, that's an older number, but April to April, 10% drop in state tax receipts.
And you blame this on President Trump?
I look at this and I say, right now, we're talking about ag policy that is clearly his decision. I'm not interested in assigning blame. I'm just interested in accountability. And he is making those decisions, but the people who are represented to elect the people of the state of Iowa, they're not doing anything about it. They're not fighting back on behalf of the people they represent. In addition to that, look at what's going on in Des Moines at the state level, right? They passed a massive school vouchers bill that has no rules for how that money gets spent. They literally, after we uncovered a record amount of misspent money in my first term as state auditor, passed a law making it harder for the auditor's office to find misspent money. Now, 8 different categories of records that state agencies are supposed to hide from us, right? They have built a $900 million budget deficit. This was before our economy tanked. I mean, they came in last spring, before those April to April numbers came out, and they made this a deficit year. And they say, oh, well, we've got this surplus. We'll use the surplus to pay it down. That surplus is just one-time money. It came from the Biden and the Trump administrations. It's gonna, when it's spent, gonna be gone, and there's no replacing it. Then what? I mean, they have no real plan that I've heard to actually right the fiscal ship.
When President Trump says, as he has a couple of times recently, that tariff money will be used to help soybean farmers in America, I think he means Iowa and others. Are you receptive to that?
I want Iowa farmers to do well. Do you know what I want them for? Number one, though, I want them to have a market for their product. They don't want to be dependent upon payments from the U.S. government. They don't want the product, right, what they grew, to sit and rot in a bin. They want it to go out there and to feed people. They want a market. Payments? Probably a good idea when you're destroying someone's livelihood. But again, to Chuck Grassley's point, that's not something that the president can just do. They did that the first time around. That bank account that they used has a fraction of what it had at that time because they used it for those payments last time. So that time now, it's probably going to have to go through Congress here. Doesn't seem to be a lot going through Congress these days.
Speaking of Congress, are you supportive of Democratic attitudes in regards to shutdown?
You know, if I can tell you what I'm supportive of here, honestly, it's ending the two-party system.
Ending the two-party system?
Yes.
Okay.
I say this at
Please continue.
Yeah, I say this at every one of my town halls. I am one of those people who is sick of partisan fighting. I don't think that either party at its core is truly focused on actually solving people's problems. They're more focused on just beating up on the other side.
But you are a Democrat.
When I first registered to vote, I registered as an independent.
Okay.
I did
But
that
you're seeking
because
the Democratic nomination for governor.
I am, and I have run twice and won twice as a Democrat. I re-registered as a Democrat in my early 20s because I had to vote in a primary. You're never going to convince me that it is right to tell people who are independent voters, who arguably are the most faithful to our founders' vision, right? They're the ones who are out there saying, no, I will not choose factionalism, right? We're going to have an election paid for with your tax dollars, and sure, you've got a constitutional right to vote, but we're not going to let you participate as our private club chooses one of your only two options, right? This is a broken system. I think that both parties would actually function better and we'd have more problems solved if we had more than two options. It doesn't mean that the parties themselves, right, are the problem, but the system is broken. And this government shutdown, I think, is a great example of that.
But the two-party system will last for at least another month. I think we can be pretty confident about that. So how does this shutdown end? And what do you want Democrats to do?
You'd have to ask somebody that spends time out here.
You're just passing through. I get it.
I'm literally passing through 2 terms as state auditor. Prior to that, I was the chief public corruption prosecutor in Iowa. I had an internship out here when I was in college, never had a job out here.
You can watch my full interview with Rob Sand. It runs almost 30 minutes on YouTube, or you can listen to it on your favorite podcast platform.